Hi, welcome to Cherie's nighttime weight loss journey video. See that full moon right there? That there is the full moon in Aries. Okay? I was sitting down after I ate my salad. I made a huge salad. And I ate a little bit more than half, and then I saved the rest for later on so that, I don't eat too much at once. But the salad consisted of spinach, cabbage, sunflower seeds, some bacon bits, cheese, egg, some cran raisins, and yeah. I did stop at the store on my way home, grabbed me some spinach and some cabbage, and some eggs and some bacon bits. And some apple cider vinegar. So I basically used the apple cider vinegar to quench my my cravings, right? Whenever I crave sweets, starches, or want to eat more than portion sizes. That's what I use. But anyway, while I was working, for whatever reason, I went back to my childhood about the time that, I had just returned back from Africa. And I was having this conversation with my mother, telling her that I wanted a 10-speed bicycle, right? At that time, 50 years ago, give or take a year or two, the 10-speed bicycle was, like the top of the line of the bicycles, kind of similar to what, the electric bike is today, the top of the line of bicycles, the electric bike. And, she told me that, she didn't have the money to spend, to buy me a bicycle. I was like, no, Mom, I really want a bicycle. If I find a job, would you let me work the job? And we had a discussion, pros and cons. That, they didn't, have very many jobs for people under the age of 16, that there are very few jobs available for people under the age of 16. So, I told my mom, look, I'll do my research, but if I find a job, can I do it? And she was supportive about my ambition. And so I remember I found a job delivering newspapers. Back then, you know, uh, kids used to deliver newspapers directly to homes, and they could get paid doing that. And so I applied for a paper route. I remember talking to my manager, explaining to me that it was hard work, you know, training me that I would have to assemble the papers on the weekdays, and then on Sunday I would have to assemble a larger, heavier paper and put in the weekly ads that they usually had on Sundays. And I told them, hey, I could do it. It's like, well, these papers get really heavy. Are you sure that you can do it? I said, just give me a chance and I'll show you that I can do it. So, anyway, needless to say, I did get the paper route. So I'm carrying these papers, door to door, on my back. Well, actually, it was on my front and back because it was like a front and back backpack. Uh, you know, it's kind of like a backpack, but it was open, and after you roll up the papers, if it's raining, you had to put them in plastic. You had to secure them with a rubber band, and then you had to toss them, on the front porch. Or at least, yeah, they typically would say, it's best to, put it on their front porch, because if you don't put it on their front porch, they may call up and say that they didn't receive the paper, and then you would have to go and give them an additional paper, and that would be docked from your money. So yeah, I used to walk around, the nearby community where I lived. I would like to say I was like 14 at the time, and carrying a load of papers after I assembled them, and I had to deliver them on foot, carrying, all that extra weight. Now, shortly after that, of course, me and my mom, we went to go open me up a savings account so that I could save up to buy this 10-speed, that I wanted to buy, which was hence the reason why I got the job in the first place, because I wanted a 10-speed. And so anyway, some of the things that, I didn't anticipate was after I had money that, I would be buying other stuff. I was buying records, I was buying perfume. Back then a digital watch was, expensive. It was, a novel thing. I wanted to have real precious stones. I did not want semi-precious stones. I did not like costume jewelry too much. So, needless to say, I was kind of mishandling my money and was not able to actually buy that 10-speed bike. But I think my mom sort of felt sorry for me, and then she had decided to buy both me and my brother 10-speed bikes for Christmas that year. Yep. Hold on. So that wasn't a complete loss. But what even made me think about that was when I was reviewing, my Social Security contributions, right? And I'm like, wow, my Social Security contributions started in 74, right? And one of the things it made me also think about was there was a particular home, that I had to keep going back and giving them a Sunday paper. For whatever reason, they would call up and say, hey, I didn't get my paper, right? And I'm telling my mother, I know I gave them the paper. I know I threw it right on their doorstep, and, after this person being, a constant problem, I would even walk up to the doorstep and place the paper right in front of the floor. Because I remember this customer was so irritating to me that I remember before I had quit that paper route job and they had called up that they're saying that they didn't receive their Sunday paper, that instead of what I would usually do, which is, add the inserts and tie it up with a rubber band and toss it on their porch. That this last time, it's like this is my last delivery of this paper route, and what I did was I didn't tie the paper up. I basically laid the paper out flat in front of their door. And and I slipped a portion of it under their doorway mat. Okay? And then I went back home and I told my mom, I didn't like how this customer kept making it seem like I'm skipping their house with the Sunday paper over and over, right? Because it's not easy. The Sunday paper, they would drop it off like about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you usually are supposed to have the Sunday paper delivered like around 6 o'clock in the morning so that when people wake up, they can go out and get the morning paper, the Sunday morning paper. And So, she understood what I was talking about. She could feel how I was feeling, my frustrations, you know. And of course, the Sunday paper was like the most expensive paper of the week. And I was a little upset, and I ended up, quitting that job. And but then after that, I I went and got a job uh, bagging groceries, and I really enjoyed the bagging groceries, and I didn't really have a problem with that. I didn't even have a problem helping to take the bags out and helping, the customers put the bags of groceries in their vehicle, right? But what I did have a problem was when they told me to sweep the sidewalk and the door entrances. And that's when I got a little bit upset. I'm like, how did I go from, being a bagger to now being the janitor, right? Now, I could have accepted that, but, I was disgruntled, and I said, I applied to be a bagger, not a custodian or a janitor. Why do you have me, sweeping out the sidewalk and, in front of the doorways? And of course, I heard that, well, sometimes, we just need you to do other things. Oh, look, it's a it's an armadillo. We still got armadillos in our neighborhood. How nice. So anyway, I'm like, you know, they're not gonna take advantage of me this way. And so, cause you just not gonna tell me, you might need me to do something else. And so I ended up getting let go from that job, right? And so I think in, what was that, 74? I believe it was 74 or 75. I made about like $1,400, probably a little bit less, but I'm just rounding the numbers. So I made like about $1,400. And I've never been a person shy about working. Especially if, I want to purchase something in particular, or I need the money for a specific reason. I just never really had a problem, with working, but there are certain things that come into play once you're working that you hadn't anticipated would affect you in certain ways. You know, and to be honest, I did think that them having me, sweep uh, outside sidewalk and doorway, I felt like it was racially motivated because I wasn't the only bagger there. And I hadn't seen the other baggers being asked to sweep because they had janitors. They had custodians or whatever they called that position. They had cleanup people, and that was their job title. So I felt like it was something racially motivated. Just like I also felt like the fact that, this same person, kept calling and telling my manager that he didn't receive his Sunday paper. In the back of my mind, I felt like it was something racially motivated, or if not racially, when it came to the newspaper, because typically the newspaper jobs were held by boys, and I was a girl. But maybe it was both, right? Maybe it was both. It was like, maybe he just felt like, if he complained enough to the office that, I wasn't delivering, his Sunday paper, that, I would lose my job. And then he can be happy that maybe my job as a paper girl would be replaced with, a young male. So when people try to say, I'm privileged, I just don't see it. I just don't. Now, if they're saying I'm privileged by the grace of God not to take, personal what some of these other people do until it just goes too far, then yeah, maybe that is a certain privilege. The mere fact that I didn't just pop off right away or just quit right away, so yeah. And that was something that, had crossed my mind today, because, on my Social Security resume, I have 50 years of working, except during the times that, I was pregnant. And that's verifiable, and most of us, we can, find out, at what age we started contributing to Social Security, working a legitimate job, and they keep records of this. Okay? Now, I'm sure there are other people that will have their own story, right? Where maybe they wasn't an employee, that they were actually, young entrepreneurs. I had a few moments of that in my early 20s when I would go out with my husband at the time to help him, mow a lawn. And I remember one day we was mowing a lawn right beside a strip club. And anyway, the owner of the strip club was looking at me, and he sarcastically asked me, if I liked what I was doing. And I was like, yeah, sure, it's work. But he went on to, to say, wouldn't I like to make more money? And that's when, my husband at the time, he intervened and he said, that's my wife you're talking to. Yeah, that's my wife you're talking to. And anyway, this owner was like, so what? Your wife can make more money, dancing than she can helping you do the lawns. And anyway, my first husband, kind of cursed him out and told him, to stop talking to his wife like that and let us do our job and leave us alone. And of course, I had a talk with him and I was like, so what exactly is wrong with dancing? And he was telling me how, that these dancers, eventually become prostitutes. And I was like, oh, okay, come on. Or drug addicts. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was, one of the brief encounters that I had when I was real young. And where society will come up and try to tempt you, to be in a position to lose your virtues. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. This is more of a podcast, but yeah, bye.